so I mentioned in the first part of our rehearsal that there are other solos besides the solo in second movement. So at the beginning of this movement, of movement 4, which you can find on page, why doesn't it have a page number? I can't tell what page number, maybe 24? Yeah, 24. That whole page is just solo, and it could be one person or it could be multiple people. The chorus actually comes in at C, but we're going to skip ahead a little bit to actually letter H, which is on page 28. So this is where the list that I sent you this week about what part you are singing. How many of you remember which part in the 5-part split you are? Let me do it this way. Raise your hand if you don't remember what part you are. All right. That's all right. I had this printed out, but it was one of the things I left at home, but luckily I have it here. All right, let me go around. Erin, you are... Yes, you are 2. Who else? Alicia. You are 3. Isabella. Oh, I see here. You're 1. EB, you're 4. Jennifer, you're 1. Carolyn, you are... Why am I not finding you? Ah, there you are. You are 2, Carolyn. Who else had their hand up? Maddie, 1. Katie, 3. Jean, 5. Karen, you are a 1. Charlotte, you're a 3. Stephanie, you're a 5. Mara, where are you on my list? Mara, you're a 4.
That's a clarifying question. I'm curious to know if I understood this correctly. I thought when I looked up myself, C to F I'm number 1, but then H to the end I'm number 3. Like, is it possible I have 2 numbers?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Yep. Well, for right now, you just need to know what you are in a 5-part split. Okay. 3. Yes, you're a 3. Chris, you're a 4. Anybody else doesn't know what part they are? If you don't, make something up. They're all the same. All right. And then you can go back when you actually are practicing this, because I know you're going to do that. You can go back to my email and look up again what part you are. And yes, it's very possible that you are, in fact, it's probably more likely that you're a different part on the 3-part split than you are on the 5-part split. Okay? All right. Yes?
Sorry.
Maybe we'll get to sing.
The end of the piece is only 4 parts.
Yep. That just means that the 5s drift out.
Okay.
I didn't feel like doing a 4-part split just for those few bars.
It's fine. I'm 5, so I don't.
Yeah. Okay. Everybody now at least has some idea what you sing. And if you don't, you're going to just make it up. All right, so we're going to look at letter H. Letter H, page 28, and we're all going to sing part 1 together. 2, 3.
Spirit.
is nothing but that. That sort of melody, if you will. Yeah. I chuckled because we all said I initial. We weren't looking ahead at what the word was.
Posterior or posterior?
Posterior. All right, let's do all of that again. I think the first part we felt pretty confident, and then when we got to initial, we were a little less confident. Okay, because I think that's what we had done before. Here we go again at letter H. Well, after H. At. Yeah, make sure on the an I of breath that where it resolves to the quarter note, make sure you get right off that because you have to look ahead and see that you're coming back in again. Let's also check our finding of our pitch on 126 and 27 of creation. It's a little hunt and peck finding that, finding the A from the E. So let's just go of creation, and we'll just stop right there and make sure we all get there. And one. Back to the top note. So we have to go right to it. We don't. We have that slide in the other movement, but not here, right? Good. A last time through the whole thing at letter H. And this time, now that we're not just kind of hunting around, see if you can really, anytime you have a skip, see if you can be listening for it ahead of time, like be figuring it out where you're going before it comes. Especially in this slow tempo, a lot of times you have time. Like for example, that E to the A. Look, you have 4 beats to try to hear where that A is. So don't wait until the last half of the last beat of that to try to, where is that? No, be thinking about it ahead. Here we go. Last time through at H. 2, 3. Great. So even though this is, in some ways, is a very legato, sort of almost flowing kind of melody, I don't know if you'd call it a melody, it's kind of a melody, but it also needs to be, because of the way this is going to be layered with all the other parts, you have to be incredibly accurate. There's no room to kind of linger on a note or put the cutoff knot where it goes. That will get things really sounding cacophonous really quickly. So now we're going to read it in our own parts. Raise your hand ones. Put them down. Raise your hand twos. Oh, you're kind of far apart. All right. Raise your hand threes. Put them down. Fours. Oh, you guys are smart. We must be missing people on those parts or something. And fives. All right. So 2s and 4s. You've got. Feel free if you want to just quickly move next. 2s, raise your hand again. Why don't you guys? Are you 2s? Oh, okay. All right. Obviously we won't be able to do this in the concert. We won't be able to move around partway through the movement. But just for right now, for reading, so we can stay together. All right, here we go. On your own part at 1 after H. 2, 3. The 5 should drop out at the top of page 30. And we're left with just the 3s and the 4s. Let me hear just the 3s and the 4s, actually the 2s, 3s, and 4s, starting from 157. And 1. So 4s are going to hold on to that D, and we have that, I said death, it's breath. All right, let's break up some of this where it gets so thick. Let's break it up a little bit. Let me hear the 3s and 4s from the bottom of 28. 3s and 4s. 2, 3. And then the 3s come back in there at J with the melody again, right? Yeah. So there's lots of places where we really get in the cracks there. It's a lot like we've had several pieces in the last couple of years that were a canon like this, where we end up. I'm trying to think the one that we just did. Was it the one? Was it last spring with there was something about a grandmother? Oh, yeah. Those of you who were with us last spring. Yeah. Not that I learned Spanish from my grandma. No, it's the same composer, but it was a very thick canon, like mothers and daughters. And it had like she sat on her patio and that one. Yeah. Anyway, so it's kind of similar to that, I think. Let me hear the 4s and the 5s starting at 1, 2, 3 before I. 2, 3. sometimes to just hold on to your part when you hear so many other parts going on. One thing I think that will help us is whenever you come in again with the main on the word love, we want to really hear that. The others can kind of fade a little bit more into the background, but every time a part comes in with that love, we want to really kind of hear that as a re-entrance. Let's go back to H with everybody this time and see if we can hold on to that. And I'm not expecting you to play all of that, but maybe you can help us at least with whoever's coming in with love is anterior. So, here we go. 2, 3. Part 2. Part 3. Part 4. And part 5. And part 1. Part 2. Part 3. Yeah, I felt like we held on to that a little bit better, even if maybe we got a little bit lost when it gets so thick. So really, what you mainly need to do is make sure you can sing that main theme. You know, whatever's going on around you. You can listen to Bad Bunny and have that, going through your head. You can sing that against it, and then you can kind of just. It's almost like a meditation in a way, right? You can kind of treat it that way. I feel like I keep hearing noises. I look around. There's no one. All right. And we're going to now move to the final movement. We spent some time on this last week, so I'm going to jump ahead to some new material for us. And we're going to start at letter I, which actually we're going to start a little bit after that. So we're going to start on page 41. Let's just see how we do, and then we might go back and fix some rhythms and things like that. Remember that this is in 2. So we have 1, 2, and 1. Ba, 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 bee. Bum, ba, 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 bee is our rhythm. Okay? 1, 2, and 1. right after J. So you have to, this is another one where you have to kind of, in a way, block out the other part because we have 2 against 3 here. Ti, ta, ta, ti, ta, ti is the sopranos, but against that sopranos you have the altos. I'm, blah, So we have that sort of tension. Let's speak at 1 after J. 1, 2. Ocean. So here again, we did some work on this a couple weeks ago about really feeling the difference of ti ta ta ti ta ta ti ta ti ta ti ta ti ta, or ti ta ti ta ta ti ta. So really, she's shifting, creating a lot of tension in this movement and a lot of rhythmic energy by shifting between duples and triples, and here we have that happening at the same time even. Let's do that one more time, speaking, and then we'll add some pitch at 1 after J. 1, 2, and leaping and why I keep going. Welling and swelling and swaying like very like tearing the tide. Great, great. Let's just put some pitch. Let me hear just the sopranos at 1 after J. 1 and, 1 and, and 1, 2, 1, 2. Yeah, look at where you're going there, yeah? Just listen to bear in the tide. Yeah, circle that D flat so you see where you're headed. Good. Think on that for a second. Let's hear the altos at 114. 1, 1 and, yeah, it's not I am I'm I know it would be easier if it was I am but I imagine that's not what the poet wrote. And, off. D, and 1, 2. D, d. We have wide d and tie d. Okay? Good, let's put that all together. From 1 after J, both parts, all parts. 1 and, good. 2, 1, 2, off. Let's read on, jump ahead to K. 1, 2, 1. Good. Let's back up a little bit, because actually the music that you have at K is almost the same as what you have at after I. So let's go all the way back to 41, and because I jumped through that and then we focused on the other section. We didn't really do this. So we have these gorgeous seconds here. And we really want to bite into that a little bit. So out of the huts. And again, as I've said, all the ending consonants are going to come on the rests that follow. So we have out of the huts. That's of history. Shame that one's, the M isn't so much. But then lower 3 parts, you have I rise. The Z comes on the downbeat of the following measure. All right, everybody reading at measure 99 and 1. crescendo to encourage you. Okay? Here we go, one more time. And a 1. Out of the hearts of mystery shame, I rise. Out of the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. Good. Let's shake this a little bit. So it feels like it's sort of building, and it does, but then it comes back down. So you have at the top of 41, you have that crescendo leading into shame, I rise, but then we come back down out of it. And even though the whole section is building, because you see we start off mezzo piano and then mezzo forte, so it's building up in that way. But we don't want to get too loud too quickly here. This is a long build up to a big climax at the end of this movement. But we want to give time for it to get there. Let me hear just the two soprano parts at the top of 41. And 1. Out of the hearts of mystery shame, I rise. Out of the past that's rooted in pain, yeah, so soprano ones, you hear that ascending line that's happening in a very long way from G to A flat to A natural and then to B flat. So that's really what we're kind of like following that. And meanwhile, the seconds are kind of acting almost like a pedal against that. You're just holding on to that same note. Do that again, those two parts. Soprano 1s and 2s. And alto 2s, you're going to have a similar thing coming up. And 1. Out of the hearts of mystery shame, I rise. Out of the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. That's it. Let me hear the alto part. Same thing. Top of 41. And 1. Out of the hearts of mystery shame, I rise. Out of the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. So you hear that alto ones, you have a similar kind of thing where you're rising. The sopranos start their ascent a little sooner than you, but then you quickly kind of come along with them. Good, let's go back. Everybody at 99, and then we're going to get ready to do J, which we had just already done. And 1. Out of the hearts of mystery shame, I rise. Out of the past that's rooted in pain, I rise. And than the orchestra. So let's just let's just jump ahead to K. You'll see this is very similar to what we just had, but we're starting a step higher than what we started before. So right on leaving behind. And 1. Leaving behind despair and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise. And good, let's back up and get some of this. It's very similar, but not the same as what we had before. Let me hear altos at the bottom of 46. at I am the dream. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so you're different on the first note, but listen together to come to that unison on the second and third, and so on. And I think after that no, then it does break off again. Once again, 1 and 1. 1 and. Alto twos, let me just hear you on. Thank you. Let me hear alto twos just right on the word hope on 158, right at the top of 47, right on the word hope. Ready, alto twos. Yeah, let's do that one more time. Watch there, you're moving up on the word the, right? It's not all on a C. One more time on hope. 1 and good. Let me hear that with the first and second altos right on the word hope. 158. 1 and. Excellent. Good. Let's go back. Let me hear the 2 soprano parts at the bottom of page 46. I am the dream. 2 and. Good. All right, let's see if we can go back a little bit before that. Just watch the rhythm is a little bit different here than it was in the first section, right? You have that little syncopated, oh no, that's in the previous, where you have leaving behind nights on page 44. But let's go to L, and then we'll go back in a second. I'd love to see if we can get all the way from the beginning of this movement up until where we just stopped. So right at L, all parts, one after L, I should say. 1, 2, 3. 1 and we've been in this whole entire piece so far. All right, let's back up a little bit before that, just a K, and we'll kind of button that up and we'll go all the way back and read from the beginning. 1 after K, leaving behind. So notice here, it's only mezzo piano. We're going to get to fortissimo. If we start at fortissimo at letter K, we're in trouble, right? Here we go. And 1. Yeah, so that's that different rhythm I just mentioned. Leaving behind nights at da-da-da-dee. I can't see the words from this far away. All right? So be a little bit more aggressive with that syncopated on the word nights. Okay? Here we go again. And a 1. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear. Sew this all together. We'll probably have to jump because there's a lot of orchestra parts in here, and we're not going to make poor Allison play all of that.
I mean, if I played wrong, you would not know.
You would definitely not know. None of us. I would not know. So we're going to start right and pick up to A. So same tempo. 1, 2. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. Does that come back to you? Remember that? 1 and 2. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. jumping ahead to F. And 1, 2. On that one. And 1. And then jumping ahead to page 41. We're going to go back to that section in a second. I heard it. Yes, I did. And 1. Of history shape, I rise out of the past that's rooted in pain. I rise you see what happens when we turn the page. There's a lot less music on every page. So, and I'll talk about that in the future. But have a seat and let's just fix that one thing, and then I'm going to send you off into the night. Sopranos, good job on now. Now you're getting the feeling of that. You're holding soprano ones. You're holding that out, and that's exactly what we want. Is that nice, that sound that's left there when the other parts drop out. Where was that now? Yeah, was it at D, just like Pope's? Let's actually go back to C. So we kind of get into it. I think it was, page like 35. Springing high. Yeah, let's go from C to the bottom of 36. So just like moons. And 1. Go back over that so that next time we don't have to go through all the same things again. Phyllis, you had a question?